So tell us, where have you been since the last time we heard from you?
LA County Jail.
How did you land in jail?
I went to jail for possession of arson equipment with intent to make an explosive device. Sound crazy. It's a baby sound like a terrorist, but what actually happened was I was going through Compton one night, and I guess I attracted some unwanted attention. I must have been like in some environment where it could have been some rival gangs beefing with each other. So, I was approached by some people in the car. They got out, they showed a gun, like, you got a problem? Like, no, I ain't got no problem, I don't know nobody out here. But they ended up leaving, they came back, they sped up and down the street. I'm at the gas station, I ain't got no gun, I ain't got nothing, I'm by myself. So basically, like I said, they came up and down the street, and then they pulled on the side of the gas station. So I'm like, oh man, it looked all bad. But hey, I felt like then I had to get creative. So I don't know how I thought of it or why I did, but I went and paid for $1 of gas and like filled up these glass bottles like in front of them, like, all right. Yeah, like I would really throw it, which, like I ain't gonna say I was or I wouldn't have. I didn't want to, and I know that if I had have actually thrown a Molotov cocktail, which is basically what I went to jail for, it would have been far worse than what it was. So, like I say, it was crazy. But one thing I told people is the good thing about it was it did get me out of that situation, because when they seen that I had, they was like, I guess they took it like, this nigga's crazy. So they sped off again. When they did that, I jumped on a bus. When I got off the bus in Long Beach, the police picked me up. So obviously, they saw me make it on the cameras or whatever. So I went to jail for that. And it was right around the time all of the stuff happened in Paris. So it was like real bad.
So those were some of the things that you encountered before being taken away, basically. Being pursued.
Kinda, I mean, in a way, but I mean, I can't say that was all, because of course, like I was able to, gather a lot of other types of footage. One thing I can say looking back on it was that I kind of was running out of gas, I guess, as far as just like energy and emotional stamina, because I started getting like, I started feeling in a frenzy, you know what I mean? Like, I lost all of my stuff in El Paso. I got the videos in Mexico and all of that. So by the time I made it to California, like, I was like out of breath. I started feeling like I know that I felt like, I was unsafe. I wasn't inside. So I ended up having to blend in with this, with the homeless culture out there. And it's just totally different in California. Like, that was one of the biggest things I learned. But anyway.
Okay, so fast forward. When you finally got to jail, what were some of the things that you went through while you were there?
Well, first I can say that the jail system in California is a lot different than it is in Texas. Because one thing that they did that I never seen in jail before was that the actual administration segregated the jail. So when you first getting booked in, they have like all the blacks go to this cell, all the Hispanics go to this cell, all the whites go to this cell. So, and that was a big difference. Another big difference was because I'm not from California, I would always, when I would meet somebody, and I guess in that first introduction, one of the things I would ask was like, where are you from? Like, because I would be curious if they was gonna say I'm from Long Beach, or I'm from Compton, I'm from Watts, all these places that I heard on TV. But when you out there and you ask somebody where you from, it's like what they say, you banging on them. So, but I would ask, hey, where you from? Hey, man, I'm from Nutty Block Compton Crip or something like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, but where is that or whatever. So, and then vice versa, because I had people ask me that too. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm from Dallas, Fort Worth. I'm from Texas or whatnot. But I actually had a cool experience in jail though. Like, I of course I did the rap thing, you know, and I got a lot of love for that. And I was a barber. You know, the same things that I feel like I did really good out here, I did out there just as well. And obviously I spent the most time when I was in California in jail. So, you know, I feel like, you know, it was pretty cool.
Okay, is it like the movies portray it to be, or not? Like, how is it and how is it? Because the main thing we see when we look at movies when men are in jail is there's always this big hunky guy who's preying on the little guys, raping them and such. Was it the same in jail or not?
I mean, nah, not. I don't know if that really still exists, you know, because I've been to jail before, you know what I mean? And I mean, I don't know. I would always say it's a matter of how a person carries themselves. You know, I do know that in LA it's a lot more tight knit as far as the politics go, and certain things ain't tolerated by the races. Like, you know, it'll never be a black person to get extorted by a white person in California or any other race. Race is gonna, you know. So I would never hear of nobody getting raped or nothing like that. Like, you know, but you have homosexuals in there, so I guess the funny stuff happens where they at. So I don't know though. I mean, you know, it's a lot of politics, and I do notice that it's a lot of things that people do for defense mechanisms. So, you know, you never know.
Well,
stop right there, because it's probably too long. But I did. When I was in jail, like, they gave me a 2-year sentence. They call it 2.5. So my biggest thing, like, was how I could get the time off, because you work, you go to school, they give you time off. So I was like, whatever I could do to get time off was what I was trying to do. So I ended up, I worked in the barber shop in one facility I was at, where they actually pay you on your books like 75 cents a day. And I ended up getting fired from the job because I put a design in somebody's head and you ain't supposed to. And so when that happened, they moved me to a different facility, and trying to get time off, I ended up taking classes. So I ended up taking like a substance abuse class. I took a anger management class. I took a parenting class, and I took a class called MRT. So it was kind of cool because I guess, you know, when you talk about being in jail and it being something that you're supposed to like you know, it's supposed to be for rehabilitation. I kind of did those things, and I did them with the goal of just getting time off my sentence. But doing them, you know, I know they have positive effects. That, and you know, just trying to get healthy, you know, mentally, emotionally, physically, all of that. So, I mean, I feel pretty satisfied with how I use the time. So, and like I said, I got a lot of love. You know, I didn't never encounter the big grizzly guy that was trying to intimidate me. Like, I really had met a lot of friends out there, you know, and I got a lot of respect, man. So, and this is on file, this is on record, because this will be public. So if I'm lying, of course, it'd be, no, that nigga lying, he wasn't, you know. So anyway.
Okay, so even though you had a pretty positive experience, it sounds like, what was the one thing that you missed about being free while you were there?
I mean, of course, my family, you know, like my family, my baby boy, he started walking while I was in there, so that was kind of hard, you know, because he's little, and, you know, I was like, man, he's walking, and my oldest son, he's getting bigger, and so I'm like, I didn't know exactly what he was doing or what influences he might have been exposed to, so that bothered me a lot, you know. And I had a good friend of mine died too. Matter of fact, my only friend, I feel like I would call a real true friend, died. Benjamin Wise, man, Junior Boy Tats, and that bothered me a lot. But you know, aside from that, companionship, you know, of course, rap, music, you know, and just trying to pursue a career. Like I feel like I've been so behind, man. And for anybody that know me, they know that, like, I've been rapping since I was forever. You know, I've been rapping since forever. you know, and I was good at it. So it's like, but I'm 31 and I'm like, I ain't famous. I ain't got a record out. You know, I ain't on no label. So it's like, dang, I'm behind. So when I was locked up, I kind of felt like I was pushing myself back. Like, almost like I'm behind on so much stuff. And it's kind of how I feel now. But
Okay, well, what was one of your fondest